My name is John Ross with the Art of Retouching Studio, and this video is part 2 in a series of how to succeed as a freelancer. You can click on the pop-up or at the link in the description below if you need to go back to that video first. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Keep yourself sane. After a long day of working for paying clients and putting my son to bed, I need to suck it up and go back to work. I don't get up as early as my wife and my son do, but still, it's been a very long day. Holidays and weekends, and I'm still here working late at night, either for myself or my clients. But in either case, I am still staring at the same screen working on the same basic types of jobs. You know what gets me through those long nights? Alcohol. No wait, Paul, edit that out. I try to remember that I usually get to roll out of bed around 10 a.m. I get to casually eat my breakfast and watch some television show that I've downloaded. Throughout the next few hours, I pay my bills, answer random emails, and I often go for walks in the park with my wife and my dog. So, I will deal with the long nights because my days are usually my own. I have been living like this for more than a decade. The debate has come up about shifting my hours. Get up at 7 a.m. instead of 10 a.m. because that means I can go to bed at 11 p.m. instead of 2 a.m. In concept, this works. It's the same number of hours, right? The problem is the clients. If I get up early, I am more likely to answer all of their emails and phone calls about their emergencies. I try to run my business by a simple principle. An emergency on your part does not necessitate an emergency on my part. Therefore, if they need to wait an extra hour or two for a response, the odds are pretty good that they'll solve the problem without me. That doesn't mean I like to do it, but if you train your clients that you don't get to your desk until 10:30 a.m., in the long term, they won't expect you before 10:30 a.m. If something is still outstanding by this point, they will get my undivided attention until the crisis is averted. Just remember, if you have multiple clients, then 5 emergencies will fill up every work week's morning if you let it. It's about control, not about their business, but yours. As a freelancer, you need to make your own hours. If you work, you eat. If you ignore the clients, then they leave. The better plan is to manage them into a planned schedule. I require 24-hour notice for nearly all of my work. I don't move until it's been planned ahead of time. While there are always exceptions, you are in control because you are not an employee. Your time is not their time. If you don't understand this, you will be run into the ground with 2 or more regular clients. Consider who suffers if you leave the clients in control. You? Nope, you're a workaholic, and you don't care how long you sit there. The ones that suffer are your wife, children, and pets. You care about the other people in your life, don't you? Why, just yesterday I planned to stop working at 3:20 p.m. and take my dog for a walk before picking up my son at 4 p.m. I never do this, but just like this article, because I scheduled it into my day, I made it happen. The dog was happy, my son was happy, and I was happy. Model Mayhem VIP. I used to have a free membership and nothing special came from it. I wanted the extra image gallery for the $36 a year membership, but once again, nothing special came of it. It wasn't until I signed up for the $10 a month VIP program that things actually started happening. Nearly every day, I was receiving emails and phone calls asking me about my service as a retoucher. I mean, multiple times per day. I was floored. I needed to find out more. After some digging around, I realized that I was able to be found by doing a general global search, and I was number 4 on the list. Please understand, that's worldwide. There weren't many people paying for this service, so only a few of those of us were at the top of this list. And obviously, no pat on my back intended, my work was better than anyone else in the top 10. Am I biased? Maybe, but that didn't stop the emails and the calls from coming in. While my costs seem to be an issue for many of the photographers, I know that when I find the right ones, they're willing to pay for the quality, and then my price will be met. And I don't have to backtrack and bid against myself. Once again, I'm happy and they're happy. Treat everyone like a new client. When I was young, I would go to work loud and obnoxious. I would not think I was acting this way, but likely I was. As I became older, I found that I had an easier time interacting with my coworkers by simply treating them with some respect and catering to their personal needs as quickly as possible. However, as a freelancer for over a decade, I found that most of my interactions with people were either personal, and I acted like the introvert that I was, or professional, and I catered to their every need. Recently, I found myself in a freelance corporate environment at the WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. And I went out of my way to talk to new coworkers. It was tough because I prefer to be alone. My wife says I'm a freelancer because I don't work well with others. But once I considered every person I met to be a new client, even though I knew they were not, I was simply amazed at the results. After 2 weeks of treating everyone that I met with the same professional attitude that I treated the people that had hired me, I found myself being invited into private gatherings, given private tours, and being treated exactly the way I wanted to be treated my whole life. All it took was talking slowly to choose my words, asking people about the topics they found interesting, and sharing a little bit about myself with an interesting story or two. That was it. No secret formula. Damn, I wish I figured that out in high school. I wasn't being fake. I just went out of my way to greet people at their cubicle, have some small chat, and go back to my desk. As an introvert, it was difficult, but I was sure to interject that fact about myself into the conversation. I told them I'm not trying to be rude, I just don't have much to say. You know what? They all seemed to understand and accept it. On my last day, several said they hoped that upper management would hire me into a full-time because I fit right in, and I was an asset to the company. Clearly, they had mistaken me for somebody else. And yet, all it took was some effort on my part. Granted, I have many years of client-based experiences and new students come into my classroom all the time. So yes, I have worked out my introvert issues. However, every conversation was still a minor struggle just because I'm happier with the least amount of interaction possible. But it was crystal clear that once I treated each new person like a possible client, everything was so much easier with my time there. This also reflects my time as a 24-year-old working at Marvel Comics. Even 2 decades later, I can reflect and say that I made the effort to get to know all the right people. While it was my own choice to leave, the key takeaway is that I played the game and became well known around the office. I made money before I left, and I've never regretted that decision. Some companies are just not the right fit for you. Provide the right vision. Theirs, not yours. Nobody likes an overly melodramatic photo. When your images need to be pushed to the point of being exaggerated, overdone, or completely over the top, then people notice. If you're the photographer, then this is often a good thing. It's the way that you define your own personal style. However, if you're the retoucher, then this is often the last thing you want to do. Think about it. Who wants to hire someone whose retouching style will overshadow their own? Paul, are you listening? Too many large animations. Unless you're distracted to make specific changes, your goal as the retoucher should be to make the images as natural as physically possible. The removal of obvious flaws or mistakes is fine, but it's when you go overboard and start changing the core appearance of the subject that it usually becomes a problem. My own rule of thumb is, how will their face look in a month? If that blemish is gone, remove it. If that birthmark is still there, then keep it on. I just want to make them look like it was on their best possible day. I'm not trying to neuter your skills. The retoucher is still an artist. You are being paid to address the subtle details, conveying emotions that are often the most important. You should be taking notice of them, and I want you to. Enhance that twinkle in the model's eye, the laughter in your subject, the tones of your overall photo. The audience should be able to feel what the subject of the photo is feeling. But what I am saying is that you can't go around changing things just for change's sake. If it's your image, do what you want. But if it's someone else's work, you need to respect that you're being paid to provide their vision, not your own. If you're able to respect the boundaries between you and the client, then you will be hired again. If you think that your work is better than theirs, and maybe it is, but it doesn't matter, you still need to intentionally keep control of every alteration. Make things happen. Photographers are not sitting around thinking, I sure hope to find a good retoucher today. I should go look for one. While it is possible they may be thinking about how their own retouching is mediocre, rarely are they going to go out and find a solution. Rather, it's your job to find the clients who have a specific problem and convince them that you are the solution. So always do your best to put in some extra effort for your clients. This will prove invaluable when the time comes. Successful freelancers take action. They don't sit around and wait. I certainly don't sit around and wait. Whenever I happen to have a quiet period in my schedule, first I try and fill it with smaller personal projects. For example, this video's framework was laid out more than 5 years ago. I'm just finally getting around to writing the words now. By choice, this is the end of the video. I have a whole new part 3 on how to succeed as a freelancer coming up. If you like this video, please go to www.theartofretouching.com where you can find more tips and tricks to make you a better photo retoucher.